I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed transcending destroyer, the one gone beyond, the flame destroyed, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sagata, the supreme guardian of new beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcending destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the shadow of night, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed transcending destroyer, the one gone beyond, the flame destroyed, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sagata, knower of the world, the supreme guardian of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcending destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the shadow of night, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. King, O supremely most premature of all understanding, you paced out 7 strides, dead set, I am supremely destroyed. To you, O wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, with wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the three worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the three worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Saviour having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to vastness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path to sublime reality, the lamp that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path of liberation, the holy field qualified in realization, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime completing protecting virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all three, without homage, to all worthy of respect, bound with bodies as many as all realms, atoms in all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. The star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all sin, subdue the faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. To page 15 for the Heart of Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to thee, I go to thee. Thus did I hear at one time the backbone was dwelling on massive office mounted in Rashtrakuta, together with the great Zenji advanced and the great humility upon the southwest. At that time the Babylon was absorbed in the concentration of the campus of the Lord of Lords without perfection. Also at that time the mind sat upon the Sampahari Antaresvaraya, looked upon the very practice of profound perfection of this world, and beheld those high aspects, also its empty and inherent nature. Then through the power of Buddha, the mental Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahavairava of Vishvara. How should any saintly being attain to perfection in practice empty and pure profound perfection of this world? He said that the Bodhisattva Mahasaya Vairava of Vishvara said this to the venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any saintly being or noble person who wishes to practice empty and pure profound perfection of this world should look upon it like this. Correct the limit before behold those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness. Without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element and so on, including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no being so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and harm. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as the truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Tayata, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, to train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoiced. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Page 25 for the short mandala.
Sanje Jende Mide Uvaye Drugu Nanda Shinla Chupara Sho Amba Chinanje Chugu Kala Jenze Jinti Cheda Sambe Duje Zimala Sashi Chuji Chawa Abdus Ita Sanje Jodan Soji Shanala
Chanchu Badu Tagni Chapsu Chi Targi Chinjin Chipe Sonam Chi Chola Penche Sanje Chupara Shu
Sanje Jodan Soji Shanala Chanchu Badu Tagni Chapsu Chi Targi Chinjin Chipe Sonam Chi Chola Penche Sanje Chupara Shu Sanje
Chodam Sachi Chanama Chanchu Badu Tagni Chapsu Chi Targi Chinjin Chipe Sonam Chi Chola Penche Sanje Chupara
Yoga de Zeni Zave, Dawa de Jepabe Jire, the Mission and Konam de la Jadela, Duni Jason de Juvela, Jesus and the Gajet in the China Bama de So the Virgin and the Joe, but the Lamarambo and the Ritu Benedict, Cottage of the Connection. The son to you, so. I know the Gulon from Jay, Rock Gulon. Other than the Pajin, the Chanjusim and the Tuyadi. Rani ji wu chi de mai ma chi de sim ji tham je la pemba tu ya ti chi de ni chi de ni gi sam je ba
Correcting our intention that one will hear about the qualities of the Bodhisattva, the perfection of wisdom, not just for oneself, but to benefit all sentient beings. So therefore listening with that motivation to benefit them.
Oi, da go gum da kapshiba. Drin zinda tamare da. Ta drin tawa shi go yo da. Kapshiba lo mangbo de so ro. Mulesina. Da tuk nan chagu da. Da tuk nan da ka ba. Yan zo sera le na. Kapshiba la. Lo ni zi de yo ro.
Lo ni rejoice that we have the chance to listen to this fourth chapter, of which this is the last class. It's been a few years, hasn't it? It was going to take 6 months, but how on earth could you finish it in 6 months? In Sarah, we take 2 years for this fourth chapter. Yeah, and the name of the class itself is the fourth chapter.
다 미가 옹보네 아니 나무나무지 옹물루 용고 이용고 시제 옹보신다디지 바른거다 디나네 담미세 이지 옹보데 안디나라직 셰다 아디마직도 치나
So we left off looking at these powers, I believe, page 206. And we started looking at the eye and it's in our own system, going down through those other powers. There are the powers of the eye and then the nose and then the ears and so forth. But it would be good if we looked at the mentality power.
친이디 랑 당데스 주베스 당데스 랑 다고데고 주베 남시 다긴디 주베 조나리 이 용보 친이스 제가 다 이 용보다 이 기지 지고를 라인데 이 용보세데 이 시와 이기 넘버 시와 치마죠 친이지 조 이기 넘리 치시겨라.
Yeah. So the definition of a mentality power, page 206, is a main knower that serves as the empowering condition of the primary consciousness that is its own dominant result. So for that primary consciousness to be, it has to have the empowering condition of that power.
다디 내 포모니가 옹보 계시는데 다디 포모 뭐 가는 간시세 다디 당도 신이와 딱세게 다 신잠 세우서 하시다.
구단 포모에.
포모 옹보 가는 간시 란준디니 간사 포르츠마 제베릭스네 왔어. 제가 불러야 될 믹스에게 부촌버신 얘기 아니 뉴바더워지 요르와 어딜래야는 부옹보스라.
Then the definition of the male power, the next one. Mentality power and mentality source are mutually inclusive. So the definition of a male power is that which is either male or female power, and secondly, abides in the class of acting to characterize the person as possessing it as male. So, yeah. The second definition of the female power is the same, but here, amongst the two, male or female power, you're characterizing the person possessing it as female.
다드네 뭐 소고 옹보치니 샤는데 저다 남시 지리고에 된치와 소지 제가 소 저다 남시 제가 남시 소스야 될라 저다 남시 지리고 하스다 라고에 그래서는 먼저 단다 되와이나 먼저 소데 저다 남시 닝게기 된치고 여러와
더 come in.
저간다 수미 감도 수감도 지나다 수미 감나 줘요 말아 수교
Right, so here the definition of a life power is a type of vitality that acts as the support of either warmth or primary consciousness, meaning that if one is either of the desire or form realms, there has to be a basis, that support by means of warmth or primary consciousness.
데네 당도 마치 조션 와 루조 다들 luzo dewe ongbo tang samde sumbe dewe sowa dewe ongbo karang dewe sowa khaan shi simbar nyowa sowa ngay nang zi dewe sowa la yana ani sowa nga yorwa tanda sowa da lushi nashi jishi lushi seji sowa nga yongorwa di ani jezang sowa ngay nang zi dewe ani sowa dewe ongbo zini sowa lu dang lushi korji sowa dewe ongbo dang samde sumbe dewe sowa dewe ongbo karang dewe samde sugla samde thangbo niwa sumba siyarwa odila jezang samde sumba dila sowa dewa mishi yideyo mara odi shigor
yideyo mara
samde sumba la yideyo mara samde sumbe sowa dila sowa semdi lago mishi yideyo mara odi chewa chigorda.
So then, going on to this definition of the happiness feeling power that is division of the 5 feelings. So a feeling that is included in the level of either, firstly, a bodily happiness feeling power, and secondly, a happiness feeling power that's included in the 3rd level concentration, a comfortable experience. So when in terms of the 3rd level concentration, it's not really a happiness of mental power, but it's a type of concentration, a bliss through that.
tanda sowa nga chewendi dusri shapini sowa dewa sowa dungi sowa tangyum sumjerwa ani yidi simdi sowa nga dir.
Right, so when we look at these 5 feelings, they have pleasurable, non-pleasurable, neutral. Then there's a mental feeling, and then ngapadi, samden.
Yidirwa yidi.
Shipa?
Simdi. Sta simdi da yidi ni jamna sowa dewa dungi tangyum gala na ngari.
Mare, tangbo dewa, tene mi dewa,
tene tangyum.
Tangyum, yep. Shipa?
Tene yidi, tene simdi.
Yide dan simde la kapa?
Shizan di yidi seya di kawala duja matewe nega ge dila yidi siga yorwa. Samdi niwa menjela yorwa. Kawala duja tewe ndiyo simdi shini. Di samdi sumbala yenjela mishi yo. Samdi sumbala mishi.
Ngapadi
Samdi sumbala mishi yo mardi.
Right, so then once more, those 5 other, the feeling of pleasure, non-pleasure, neutral. The 4th one is yide, which is a type of mental pleasure that you don't want to be separate from. But the 5th one, simde, is a type of concentration that is beyond wanting not to be separated from the 3rd level of concentration up.
Yena namshi kodi juwe tsowa debe angbo ngashi, rwa. Ani lu tso khaan shi dunga nyamsi nyowa de tso nge nang zidi juwe tunga dirwa. Lu tso dewa dan simzo dewa nyi sharwa de. Ta lu tso dewa de ni rangdan tsundin juwe namba shio kodi juwe tso khaan shi simba nyowa de ridwa.
Right, so within dividing those into 2, isn't it? You can have a bodily happiness feeling power and a mental happiness feeling power. So the definition of the bodily one first. A feeling that occurs in the retinue of the sense primary consciousness that is concomitant with it, page 207, and is secondly a comfortable experience.
Chazan di luzoge dewe ongbo dila yena mikshi ne che shagura mikshi nashi chishi lushi digdo.
So those bodily happiness feeling powers we are enumerating from the eye sense power, isn't it? Through the nose and the ears and then the taste and so forth, tactiles.
Ta luzo khaan shi dunga nyamsi nyowa ji tsowa nga nang zidi juwa tsowa dunga ki tsini rida.
Right, now we have the definition of a suffering feeling. So a suffering feeling power is division of one of the 5 that is a bodily feeling and is a painful experience.
Dunga nyamsi nyowa tsowa.
Yeah, dunga nyamsi nyowa.
Di luzo dewa re, luzo dunga rida ora.
Yeah, that is displeasure of body, no?
Ta simsor khaan shi dunga nyamsi nyowa yi mi dewe. 다 이미 되어 여러 심그 초와 임바 간실라 동안 양수 요어디 니 이미 되어 온 거지.
And there is going to be a mental unhappiness powers. So one of a type of mental feelings that is painful.
그런다 델레기도 이디세아디 삼디니와 이라 menjeji se dewe chowa simzo khangashi simba nyowadi yi dewe ongbo tsini yi di sedro.
Right. So then now we get back to this definition of mental happiness power that's included in the level of the second concentration below and is a comfortable experience. So, yeah.
다 되네 chowa 당용라서는 chowa khangashi simba parma nyam스 nyowasde 다 parma dewa mai dunghe mai gi parma nyowadi la ne 당용 쓰고 요라.
Right. So the definition of an equanimity power, a feeling, and a neutral experience in terms of being neither comfort nor pain.
어다 되네 니 대화 듬바 준주 다 디질라 상메기 옹봉아스 chen 요라.
Yeah, and the power of faith not provided. And then these other non-contaminated powers, isn't it? Faith, joy, effort, mindfulness, meditation, stabilization, and wisdom loss.
어디 숨바디 꾸는 유머시 옹보준이 실드가 되도에.
도기시나.
실드데 단 유머 옹보주지도 당기. 주지디제디 꾸는
줍시.
꾸는 유머시 옹보주지체. 주지보디 실드고래서.
Right.
실을 컨데스 듀레스나 아니 녜드 주베데 녜라 니 슝니 껴와 다 껴와 께니 내와 아니 내내 롱주에 온디체네 아니 디에디다 두루고요레스 테디 워드 와시디 야고 시시 디마시시나 야서.
Right, so now we come to this reduction of those 14 into 4, or condensation. So, yeah, we're going through the thoroughly afflicted class, aren't we? Subsuming them into 4 because support for entering the womb, rebirth entered, abidance of rebirth, and utilization of the abidance. 시유르바?
쭉직을 탕어외 줌진데 테레스르와. 다 줍실을 탕어외 줌진이야 맨다지 셰도가 돼. 어디 나와라와. 아래.
주직래.
근데 요모저 옹보 쭉직보디 실드베 줌제데 녜디 주베데.
줍실을 두르서.
디 sabject ngawadre 줍시 되거든. 근데 요모저 줍시 탕에외. 즉 탕에와다 야 düne 줍시 난 두고 그래서 어디. 단도 두버릴라도 돼.
야.
somebody. 단도 어 줍시디 탕에외 줌제 셰라. 디 로거래. sabject 로거래. 단도 줍시 라데 sabject ngawad에 난도메. nga왔어요. 아도
Yeah, this go condensation. Subject sumbarwa.
숨바들라 꾸는 유무 저 옹보 쭉직고디 니 시드베 줌제 데스 탄당하니 라드로. 아니 시월로 미소 옹보 같이 대주리드 시로 두주디 시기도.
Yeah, this sumbarwa.
숨바디 두주디 시로. 살레 소세 야와 두와 소송
야와 ngowo duwa namdrang.
두와들 두와 숨바디다.
야, 디로.
어디 쭉직 타는 어디. 조사서. 다 남자 뭐 예고디 실드베 진짜잖아. 남자는 주베 된 주베 껴 얘네 내와 내내 롱지고 다도서 도나이메 준슈다 다도서 계속 망고셔 다도서 체나 다른데
투수투
제마샤 데데 제마샤야 셰야 데데 샤오라 상관한데 셰야 말해.
So what we're going through are these kind of eightfold division of the powers, and the third one is this condensation where you've enumerated them as 14 of the thoroughly afflicted and then condensed them into 4. And then there are these 8 powers of the completely pure class, but they can also be subsumed into 4, which are bottom of page 207, the support for entering the completely pure, the rebirth entered, the abidance of rebirth, the utilizations of the abidance. Good to go into those thoroughly, but there's a lot we can't go into thoroughly, so we leave that for a later date. Yeah, now etymology, name.
미가 옹보시 띵인저 귤 옹보시지에 김전이 돼서와 그 옹보시
Right.
그림시디 줄라서에 태어나라 미고라 완시에 김전지 있는데 시기요레스다.
Right. So why are they called powers? The subject, the five, such as the eye power, there's a reason for calling them powers. It is because they empower, respectively, the observation of the five objects, form, etc. No.
다이 추진 귤 어느 옹보시지 김전지 최 탐제라 미고라 완시에 김전지 어디다.
So let's take the subject, the mentality. There's a reason for calling it a power because it empowers the observation of all phenomena.
다들 포모 옹보니 추진 귤 옹보시지 김전지 포모 오보당 개와라 완치베나 아니 대다시기요레스와.
So now the reason for demarcating the male and female powers, there's a reason for calling them powers because they empower entities and the particularities of male and female.
다소 공부로 공부시에 준세 가르스나 끼네 마시파도 네 류지릭도 네와 나 왕체와 인상 안될 소 공부시가 그래.
Right. So what's the reason then we call life power a power? Because it empowers the abidance of a concordant class, whatever kind of class of realm of the body of the birth until death.
나다디 가르시에 오르스나 먼저 미시르도 먼저 미시르도 먼저 소디 니기 된식도 트럭 된식도 남식 된식도
Yeah.
세상 류그 트럭 라고 찾아온 팀 사회에 먼저 소디기요 그래서나 먼저 줄에 이기 남식 터무디기요 인자 소 공부 대대 인자 다 미디 손바래라고 남백이 손바래라고도 콜 소요레서 김제 뒤에 우두두다.
Okay. So why explain like this? Because we would say out of the two that are define life force, warmth and consciousness, when the gross level of warmth has dissolved, we can say from a Buddhist perspective that the subtle consciousness can still abide there. So therefore, yeah.
나데네 군내 유모수지는 군내 유모수지도 소왕아로 소왕아데 아니 줄롱보시죠 긴지지 녀모베 출을 하고로 완치වෙ나 다디시게 그래도 너무 못라고 그랬어.
The subject, the five feelings included in the thoroughly afflicted class of a mundane being, there's a reason for calling them powers because they empower the thoroughly afflicted phenomena.
지금 계획 출을 뒤에 태소 엉봉하러 대화 준비 준비시로다 뒤에들라네. 옹보시죠 긴지 남자한테 출랑 완치워나 남자한테다 파괴주기 출와 어디래.
Right, and the subject, the five powers, faith and so forth, included in the virtues of a mundane being, there's a reason for calling them powers, it's because they empower the observation of completely pure phenomena when you're in the Arya class.
다드네 통람의 집에 태소 엉망하시 이 소와대와 이 대당용 라서고 구대달라 홍보시지 긴제에 대해서다 군시베 홍보당선 군시와서다 군시대베 홍보스니 파괴주의라고 군시베 홍보도 와토바 아니 통방 방와라 와시르시라 다디 통람배주의 태소 홍보도 제시한 거라.
Now we're talking about the powers on the path of seeing, yes. The 9, the five powers, faith and so forth, mentality, happiness, feeling, mentality, happiness, equanimity, service, the path of seeing. There's a reason for calling them powers because they empower the attainment of the path of knowing all and abandonment. They empower, and they also empower the abandonment of the objects of the abandonment of that path. Pang, gompang.
공란의 집에 네 담고 구들라요. 옹보시 중에서는 군시 내배 온토바. 군시 내배 온토바나 공방방을 완치고 그랬어.
Yeah, and they're also relating to the next path of meditation because they empower. Why are they called powers? Because they empower the power of possessing all knowledge to know all.
다 테네 담다디르도 밀로란데 주에 옹보고라 옹보시 중에서는 항면 양대 토바다 통줄라 대원내올라 완치 그랬다.
Right, so why are they this next level? Why are they called the no more learning powers? Because they empower the attainment of nirvana without remainder and the abidance of happiness in this life.
다 꾸는 유머 녀와데 장이 와들이로 나와들 꾸는 유머지 옹볼라 주시 장이 근데 유대스로다.
Right, so looking at the reason for the definite enumeration on page 209, why of the afflicted class are there 14?
코발라 주베 띵원시네 믹서 옹보 툭체로 코발라 주베 온디체나.
Right, in terms of supporting entering into cyclic existence, 1 to 6, the 6 powers, I and so forth, are set forth.
다드네 디레 이니 집에 띵원시네 포모옹보체로.
Yeah, and then in terms of the support for the birth and that, male and female powers posited.
다드네 온디체네 소옹보체로.
Right, and for that to abide, you need life power.
다디둘로 롱주베 온디체네 소옹몽아샤레스.
And in order to, feel within that constraint, then you're going to have those 5 feeling powers as well.
다 남자지 다 다다 디제디 나도 디게 다디 두스 망불라나마 코발라 주베르 메온시메 동에덴 바다 군존데메 남샤 젠냐레 다디 들어.
Yes, so if we're looking at the way cyclic existence is attributed or entered into, then we're looking at true sufferings and true origins, and it can be explained in these terms. The afflicted, no.
남자 옹볼라 제 남자스도 다 파괴 주지 옹보들라 제 장에 김세 요레스로.
Yes, but the non-afflicted class, with which are 8, we're talking about those in the continuums of the Aryas.
남자는 주베 온디체네 대소 옹봉아시로.
Yes, because if we want to accomplish Arya state, we have to have these 5 powers, faith and so forth.
딜 게베 온디체네 미시와 군시베 옹보사 직제.
Right, and then in terms of that birth, the power of making all that is unknown known is posited, 6.
딜 네베 온디체네 군시베 옹보시로.
And then to abide in this knowledge, then the power of knowing is set forth, 7.
당게 미시와 군시세 디 통람지 옹보들 디 네베 온디체네 군시베 옹보서네 공람지 옹보들이다.
Right, so the 6th one relates to the path of seeing, isn't it? And then the 7th one, abiding in that, is the path of meditation, 6 and 7 respective.
여와다 남자 롱제 온디네 군시데베 옹보스디 다준비지 옹보들이다.
Jeopardy. In terms of utilizing the completely pure, the power possessing the knowledge of all is posited as the fruit of an arhat resultant.
다디 앙부 톱동세시도 다디 베진 요도 잡으셔다. 탑샤시들.
So we'll probably leave bottom of page 209, obtaining and relinquishing powers. It's a bit troublesome.
디 저런들 헤드릭 그랬어.
Headache material.
다디 내가서 디게 다 가르쳐버렸으나 다 도스래 와 티징 글람들라 촌랑 jon랑 돈랑 권랑 밀로람체로.
Yeah.
다 람나 중니들라 옹부nom부 옹부딩 옹부두고 숨여셔로.
Yeah.
다 옹부nom부디 아니 치메도베 다디 jon람이 내가서 토부여. 다디도 살아로.
Yeah.
다 옹부딩디게 치메도베 다디 토람이 내가서 토부어다. 토람 치메도베 다 투살로.
Yeah.
다 옹부 타마디게 니 골람니 가서 다 사제원에 다 뉴리빵도 요러와니 제와 구와 주와 타고 사솜니 내가들라 아니 옹부 두부디게 니 치메도베 다 토고래서 다 독스 골람 치메도베 다 셰세데 디오 레단데 레스로.
So just reminding us of the different signs of irreversibility that appear on the perspective levels. So this sharp, middling and dull facultied bodhisattvas and where the signs occur. We said that, with regards to the sharp faculty practitioner, those signs of irreversibility appear on the path of preparation. And with the middling level of bodhisattva on the path of seeing. And then finally with the lesser sharp or dull, we would say, those signs occur on the path of meditation, particularly on the 8th, 9th and 10th grounds. And this 3rd level is where we are. Sumbhadiravad Gishla. Gomlam.
골람 게 치메도베.
Dipa Chomge.
르다 데 도노미시 디파루 디제디 와야마.
Paradila Wangboro Aditis Shakna.
또 옹부 당이 도에 마티티.
Okay. So now we're going to move right along to that explanation of the signs of irreversibility of one on the path of meditation 219, leaving in between the rest of the powers explanation.
다 담보 두실라샤나 고남딜라와 고남딜라 딱 구체게요로다 구체게 다디 나라다 직접을 쉬셔도 구체연도 아니 에 뇨모딜라 고남딜라 충무딩 첨부제로 아니 충무딜라 숨 딩딜라 숨 첨부딜라 숨 유디 구차로고요로 두스 고남 고 구샤단디
Right, so now let's talk about what is happening on the path of meditation. And we can categorize the afflictions to be abandoned, of which there are 9 levels, by small, medium, and great. And each of those having 3, making 9 levels to traverse, or 9 levels of afflictions to abandon.
근데 사주 체온도 당기 고대간라 통람 당부 방자 체셔져라. 아니 될어야 지중 니체나 아니 방자 주차라. 안디 사주를 방자 잡도고 요레스티.
So if one includes the 10th ground of these obscurations, then one can have 10 levels of 10 levels of afflictions to be abandoned.
다 고놈치메다 와들라야 아니 데로 제베사와 각베사와 디신이사와 시제사와 셰바사와 쮸베사와 니스메베사와 탑라케베사와 제샤고도
테스코 제 덴기 참으로 고수의
다 점자자우르.
야야 테스코 점자. 디삼샤 dim 고마르바. 테스코 기슬 양기를 랍다 지지자. Gisla's gone ahead, I can't find it.
치메도 와델라 니 다 디사메 넘버 게지 코네 사와인라로 아레 통람들라 주룩샤송아. 고놈 치메도 와델라
알레 제제제. 테스코 제디 거기.
올.
So we have to we have to come to where there are these 8 qualifications of the path of meditation. It's quite a bit of a jump. I'll read text. The Gisla Sawadi, right? Sawadi page din, right? So the root text, page 242. No. 242. So these 8 profundities, because let's go through the 8 profundities.
다 당보디 깨베사와르바. 다 두두 사마 아니 디레 가서오레. 깨베사와 세야디 아니 셈당고 깨원네 라면 조장도 아니 응어버저가 산겨와 말아서 되자. 되나 디 네 깨베사와스르바.
카드? 산산? Ale tambo tesko di do nang la jo shishi din dire.
하면은 될 것인데 슝된지도 와 슝된.
네, tesko gi 슝된 약으로.
슝된에 조로지도. 타마타마디.
Ale warsha.
슝된도. 근데 디월마 반지도. Right.
So this is going to be easier if we explain it from the point of the meaning of the text. Bottom of 243. So the subject, a bodhisattva abiding in the subsequent attainment of the 8th ground is irreversible from unsurpassed complete enlightenment because he is a bodhisattva who has attained the special conduct Tirabagisla.
오 디라디 다디 디 고람 디 치미도 임베 균젠 그랬으나 라멘 조전레 치미도 오래 임베 균젠네 깨베 싸워서 사무나바 제 투스 취네 탕베 아니 제도비 류가 그쪽에 냠샤지 내가 저 사무나바 제스다 냠샤 내가 저 도서 사무 제데 동반이 된냐래 봐
Right.
딜라 냠바샤 아니 제도비 내가 저 아니 류가 다니 겨와 제지 레고 요인자 어디 아니
All right. So the real essence of it is that here the signs of irreversibility of this bodhisattva happen because when in meditative equipoise solely on the lack of intrinsic nature emptiness, all of the profundities are coming from that. And in subsequent attainment, the signs appear physically and verbally. So as it says in the subject, what's the induction of those signs of body and speech? Is a subsequent attainment which are induced by the understanding of the 8 types. Right, so now we're going through the 8. Here we are.
타추 담제 뒤나 뒤제도 두마체 뒤로 걸어와 유지원 체비나 아니 내 유진 직원체나 유진당 아니 죄배 싸워서 야 너무 죄제 그 유진 찬에 싸워당 죄바스도다 두체나 자지 레숨나 날 뒤로요 다 두슬람네
자지 레숨
와
yeah I get it. So then you've got the first 2 categories, the compounded and uncompounded, and all phenomena can be condensed within those 2. But then you have the object and object possessor and conduct, meaning the subjective mind understanding the object and conduct. So here, what this can be condensed into is like the action, the actor, and the acted upon, or the notion of acting, those 3.
다 당보들라 깨베 사바세야디 카레라인데 아니 깨와 텐데라 사브레스타 깨와 사바세야디 깨와 텐데 좀 하장 사바 내가 다 텐데 차네 아니 동반이 뭐라 냠바샤도
So the first one, which is production, or we said the compounded, relates to the profundity with respect to production or dependent arising.
다도 냠샤가 내가서 동반이를 냠바샤 근데 제도지 내가서 땡땡이 추탐제 아니 땡동 주마도 위신도야 되는데 연구여러
Yeah, so what's happening is that when that area is in meditative equipoise, on emptiness, in post meditative equipoise or subsequent attainment, then everything has this empty illusory like quality to it.
다 각발라 사와세야디 각발라 사와세야디 각바세야디 다 디신이라래.
Right. And in terms of the second, there is profundity with respect to thusness itself, just the negation.
가래라는 각바 가래가스네 덴버드와 각바 디 덴버드와 각바 가자디 동반이라.
Right. And so what is ceased? What is ceased is this true existence, or any clinging to the true existence. So it's ceased.
다디 디르도 가서 뒤제 뒤마치 다디 다 숨배원 전에 셰발라 싸워 일단 디르와다
숨바야
뉴언지나 숨바데다 셰베 싸워서 들어와 셰베 싸워.
Yeah, now that second one relates to cessation because it's uncompounded.
셰잘라 싸워 셰잘 등에 넣으시 숨바디
어디 유동 유치
대원의 집에 디신이나 싸워 각발라 싸워지 니베원의 집에 숨배원의 전에 셰발라 싸워지 아니 시베원의 전에 말이 숨바디 셰잘라 싸워지 시바디 셰발라 싸워지 다 당보디 유치 니베디 셰발라래도 알 숨바디 롱초버스 디제스는 자주 레슨다다 로다데 아도
So then in terms of the third, we're looking at the profundity with respect of what's to be known, the objects of knowledge, and profundity with respect to the knowledge itself, because we said object possessor, didn't we? And then fourth, there are profundity with respect to activity and non-duality in skill and means. Tab kepa, ni se me belotang, chawa.
어디 차원에도
Yeah,
저제 레슨 해봐.
yeah, cha, che, le, sum. So again, coming back to this threefold, the emptiness of those three: action, person acting, and acted upon, or object, subject, perception.
둠버디 요새 니즈메 벌 싸워다 탑럭해 벌 싸우래도 개버디.
Give it there.
다 더더지리 니즈메 벌어야 돼 갈라서나. 덴버도와 니즈메 봐. 참아 덴버도와 딘지기도 니즈메.
All right.
될거다.
Yeah, so non-duality, really, you're talking about the pacification of the appearance of the true existence of things. They're similar.
탑럭해 싸워야 돼. 따라가고 탑럭해 셔럽디 탑기 심바로 봐.
Yeah.
셔럽디 탑기 심바 인자 탑럭해 봐서.
And skill and means, because it's conjoined with wisdom, therefore it's skillful action.
어디래다 니 치매도 왜 따디 이제 사제와 구와 주와 사제와는 사도 토고 열어 봐. 구와 주와 상말라 되 열어다. 치매도 왜다 공부 두시 열어다. 전주 심바. 그 사제와는 토고 열어다. 토에 줌진디 삼문남바 제디제 콩수회 인자 아니 레스 왔다.
So such signs are exhibited by this bodhisattva who is of the Dala faculties, and will be exhibited having gone through these bhumis 8, 9, and 10, and they're induced by those aforementioned 8 profound qualities.
다죠. 다디 제라야 권랑 치면 되죠라. 아니 시신념이 좋았어요. 도. 아도.
Do.
다친이 들어잖아. 디디그 다 저장도 도돼요.
Ale sishi minyamba. Sishi nyamba yobita right?
시신념이디.
So next, going on, we're looking at the explanation of the application of the equality of cyclic existence and peace, 246. It might be okay just to do the definition here. Can anyone find the definition? Sorry. Of the explanation of the application of the equality of cyclic existence and peace, 246. Oh, it's after the textual meaning of the text.
근데 시신념이 저디 다과서송의 이시 최진에서도 흉들. 흉들.
Oh yeah, here we are.
다과서송의 이시.
Yeah. So actual meaning is at the top of page 250. No,
네 마스식 도시하고 아니 저는 두 말. 다과서송의 이시 다과서송 가르스나 사제와 구와 주어섬들라 다과서송서 그래. 가래 다과에서는 윤리방과 인자 윤리가 다과래라고 그래. 알아. 다 될라야 아니 시신념이 좋아서 그 김제 가래라나 아니 시시세다 그러네. 시와 코와체로 시와 양대 디제 아니 시시대 너무 무슨도 또왜 셔르지 셈베 고네 제도지 내가서 딘중문주와 그거세와 좀베 탁세이시래서다.
Right. So the definition now of this page top of 250, an application of the equality of cyclic existence and peace. Is an exalted wisdom of the pure grounds. We have to know that those pure grounds are 8, 9, and 10. And with those pure grounds, one has the wisdom. Tiska. Gepa, gupa, chupa, yishile tene.
사 탁살네 겨구어주어들 타고 서슴서 걸어.
그래. 딜레 tene?
딜레 tene 기어마. 디케시르와.
디케시는
콘절라 시신념이 좋아서라고 요래서. 나고 김전 가래라 나서 그래. 시바단 시와 den동 무슨도 도왜 네 셔럽이 셈베 내가 디자 마세.
오케이.
딘중문주와 좀 고급세워 좀 이시레스 탁세이시.
Yeah. So the wisdom of these pure grounds has exhaustively destroyed the opportunity for a manifest conception of true existence to be produced on the occasions of subsequent attainment by means of being conjoined with the wisdom directly realizing that cyclic existence and peace are empty of true existence.
다드네 싱다조와 싱다조와. 네, 흉된데 도시는.
흉된.
싱다조와. 흉된. 사제외 시추진스다.
사제비 시추진 됐고. 신감 말봐.
신다 줘봐.
Ale, 신다 줘.
주바디.
Yeah, chuba. So the explanation of application of a pure land, yes.
중견도 와 중견들
So the
사제외
meaning,
시추진스 봐.
yeah.
신다 줘봐 인데.
Ale.
아니 신탑에 줘봐. 신타와서 신산제의 신도와. 산제 신탑에 줘봐 인데 산제지 누주지 신케와진 주베 멜랑라스베 계전과 투진이 주베.
No, so we're going straight here, page 255, to the meaning of the text, because the subject, the exalted wisdom of one on the eighth ground, is an application of Pure Land because it's a yoga of the pure grounds, that's the powerful potency of roots of virtue and prayers, and so forth, that will establish a special Buddha land of environment and inhabitants north. Yeah, here in this context, our aspirations become important. Yeah.
Yeah,
so we should make aspirations and prayer that we quickly attain to our Buddhahood, in which we will actualize our own pure land, and we have to dedicate our roots of merit to that end, so that when we actualize Buddhahood, we also aspire to abandoning the impure bodies and actualizing the pure ones. When divided, there are two: application of a pure land of environment, and which would be like the Buddha field, an application of the pure land of inhabitants, the beings that abide there. So let's go now into the explanation of skillful means, and straight to the definition, which I did check. Page 262. Right.
틸레 푸숨 속에 흉기주에 다세는 저기 타고 줘서 틸레 푸숨 속에 흉기주 와서 답 틸레스 다지 구송 토기 틸레 아니 지다 지 콜 제 롱저도서 배 저보고 도토야 흉기주 와서 배전 시우 치면 왜 배터네 푸숨 속에 약보지 지 다지 가려 이내 지배 약보지 배전 시라 치면 왜 배터네 두비하게 아니 딘데게다 탁사
Right, so training in this particular skillful means of the yogas of the pure grounds spontaneously accomplishes excellent activities. So this stage around the 8th and 9th grounds or bhumis, effort, gross effort is not really needed. The enlightened activity of body, speech and mind tends to actualize without effort on the first hand, and secondly, what you actualize is pure and it's quick. Yeah.
자, 두시죠 타가지고
어디니? 니케디 미네바디니.
네, 미네바 네베 좋아지.
어디니체?
somebody 두저 신들은 거는
어디 somebody체?
시와디 니랑 저걸 두모지. 마와디 최단지를 좀 해봐시. 두바디 참아매 좋아지. 두바디 세베 좋아지. 개와디 나시 치매도에 따지고 참바주에 좋아.
그룹디?
세매에 타베게 좋아던 주유스. 세매에 타베게 좋아지. 치매도에 따.
주유라?
다디 저와 차선도 뭐지. 아주 들린 두시디 당부 두시디 그러시는 데. 좋아. 이제 도나한테서 뒤좀디 깨져다 먹고 싶을 되거라.
Okay, so Lynn, we don't have time to go through all of these 10 divisions on page 262 of Skillful Means, but it is good if we go through the first of the four maras.
다베 친이지도 와랑 로게. 친이지는 말도 샤가.
So our own system has a definition down the bottom.
다당고 뒤신안에 풍부뒤들어 풍부뒤들 가려면 다디 디딱 쇼지레고 가서 먼저 뒤에 빼자된다는 책디 쇼지레고 다 대식 시험에 야고
Right, so the first one, the definition of the Mara of aggregates, is important to know because it comes up again and again in the text.
뒤신안에 관심이 있어. 다디다 책 제지로래. 란주 다도 통다도 돼. 란주 레다 녀몽나 되네 총에 사제 풍부 당스. 봐.
Yep.
아니 마리베 바자가 살라 된거 관심. 가능데 풍부두기 진이스래 풍부두.
Right, so let's look at the definition then of the Mara of aggregate. That which is a division of the four Maras and necessarily depends on either of its own causes. The contaminated aggregates that arise in dependence on actions and afflictions or the levels of latencies of unawareness or ignorance.
풍부두 단다 레다 뉴몬 되는 중에 사제 풍부디 단다 마란주 류들이 아주 류들이 봐 류다라래다.
Right, so the contaminated aggregates that are a result of karma and disturbing emotions, that is our body we have now.
다 마리 바제베 살라 되는 사제 박외주지 이기 류세스도와
Yeah.
단다 데레다 데 베나 민데 토람 골람 기주 류저바
Yeah.
두조 아니 마리 바제베 살라 되는 저 이기란 신기 류서 데레다.
And those that are a product of latencies of ignorance, we would say are those, for example, hearers and so forth on the path of seeing and meditation, because they're mental bodies, they're the fruition of these latencies of ignorance.
이나 차라니스나 타모디 마리 바자에 살았던 시에 이길 라도와
두두아.
어디 대바 년년도 토랑 고람 유지니 그래서 다 배진한다. 어디를 샤는 이유.
Yes. So when divided, it says, top of page 263, there are the two, subtle and coarse. The first is such a mental body, or subtle mental body, that arises in dependence on the levels of imprints of ignorance. And the second is just the five appropriated aggregates.
다드네 단다디 년년 풍부된 알아서 셔야 되셔. 년년 풍부 마스나 말아서 풍부가 수무 저모도 주도 남시 풍부가디 어디다.
Yeah, the five appropriated aggregates are, as we know, form, feelings, discriminations, compositional factors, and consciousness.
다드네 녀모베 뒤세야디 다디 뒤신한테 관심은 또 타버터라 파드치와 디베리스네와 녀모베 뒤지니.
So the definition of the next, the Mara of afflictions, is that which is a division of the four and abides in the class of obscurations that mainly obstruct obtainment of liberation.
아들라 타라 니시디 타모디 윤디지 사면 와 윤디지 사면디 그래서 녀모베 뒤에는 녀모 인구고요 말이야.
Right. So the first subtle level is the seeds, because if you have the Mara of afflictions, you don't need the gross level, you can have the subtle. The seeds.
다라고디 자녀투와
Yeah.
윤유니슈 당저 되자시당 공동하게 말이와 오다 도드레.
And we're recognizing the gross level as the 6 root afflictions and 20 secondary ones. When you have desires, attachment, ignorance, doubt, all of those, and so forth.
다드네 디디시 다 숨바 치다가 두디 있으라 디 간시 쏘고 엉고 라메와 가고에 차네 치다가 두스 치다가 두
The definition of the Mara of the Lord of Death is that which is a division of the four Maras and abides in the class of factors that stop the life power out of your control.
지나 디 타디 단데 칙디 인직다다 되게 나면은 찬에셔베 릭스네세도 체 릭스네어세
Oh,
어디 가르치고 그러나니 속 엉보 라 치다가 속 치다가 뒤에는 속 엉보 라운드 뒤바디 인고고요 말봐 디 체기요 메나 단다 년도 파고다 공람 타조다 고 라운드 지고 콜라 라운 예대로 라운 예베 라운 여봐 치야로 치디 되나 단다 타라샤 네 삼니 메제베 치포스 삼니 메제오스 치포아들 라운 여봐 먼저 딩사디 로곰제니만 수수시야라 라운 여버든데 도와라 그냥 얘기 라운드 가 그런 지 좋아야도 라운 따다도 예 아샹지 지gle 라운드 게 당연히 저런 좀 시에서 튕기지로 제가 라운 연구도 치다가 뒤어데 디 속 엉보 라운드 뒤가 쳐도 말해서 제가 예 직당분을 제 릭스네요 세시도
okay. So there's the reason there's the qualificand abides in the class of factors that stop the life powers without one's control, because there are, those that stop the, that go through death but have control over it. So, for example, some meditators have freedom when they will die. For example, I've told you accounts of my teacher and my uncle. So that means stop the life path without one's control, but there is still a process of death where you can control it.
다 치다를 라운 여베지나 아니 다 감에 exam the pass churese
Yeah, so if you have freedom over that death, then that you've passed the final exam.
단데 하나도 슈구강 exams 게 말해서라
Yeah.
그때 딱 스스로 좀 가져야 체험에 따라 지르면서 exam 문에디 다 시글라고 딴 거고요. 그래서
The exam we're about to sit isn't the real one. The real one is at the time of death and how you handle that.
저는 둔다지메 exam 인팅이요 말해. exam 문에디 대예요 태어나.
So don't think the exam next week is the real one. Think that that's yet to come, and it's the one in next week. That's pretty easy. Yeah, but to have freedom over one's death, that's not so easy. To have control, excuse me. Yeah, once you have control over your own death, that's some attainment. Yeah, that's a real attainment, is it? Then you have accomplished the siddhi of great meaning. Yeah, it's strange because that's not just coming from meditation. That ability is also coming from merit and faith, I think.
스스 대바당 소남도서 야고요나야 고 시글라버데라 디그네스 데오로 용어도 다 기승해 아자 당부터 나제 강이 테르데레 시글라버데라야 베 동상모 추쿠베 시비지 샤송로
야 시지치무 줘봐.
베 시지체로 시도제베 벨레레제 다 참모 담만데 덴제 동상로.
Yes, I mean that those two of merit and faith, it seems they can have a big part to play, because in my sister's case, although she suffered before that and was quite sick, when the actual death process came, she was relaxed and was quite radiant. Signs.
라마 로지인데 게다 시지샤서.
So 그런 게. If she was a lama, she'd be famous now.
네, 그래서 나디 풍부 들을 때에 인가데 산인들 그 용도를 칸 땅에 베페 미창베 삼바지 우스요. 근데 단답 칸요 말다. 니마지라레디. 베 연도라 칸 땅에 미창마. 딩엘라 미창마베 록다운신 삼바마지 요로. 칸직 땅에 미창베 시에 땅에 가보시면 서서로.
Okay. So, after her body was fed to the vultures, snow pervaded all of Tibet. And everyone was so happy that it snowed, like because they'd been on lockdown and then because it snowed everywhere, they were playing music and very happy.
직도다디.
That's a sign, kind of.
아자 그런 게 전화는 먼저 쳐설래. 아자 견로시 미망고 주 나단 되어 타 뉴로트니 소리지. 차송아.
Yeah, and because of that, because of her merit and our connection with Dharma Center and me, we've become closer.
직 인데로 좀 아니 배 단다. 펄라 단다. 저 빈자들이 다 상무님도 대대로 단다.
But also, all of the rallies in Tibet were there at that time.
그래서는 다 록다운 체라.
Yeah.
기승 나라 직니 줄래 다 상마 주저 로마니 저거 네 아자 저거 아니 아자 부구 차상 다 건서 상마 나직 날라다 대대다 님도 네 아자 괜찮아라.
I know because of lockdown, all of the close people to her were there, her partner, brother,
바다 상마
brothers and all.
그러나 부구 상마
And all of the brothers, kids, nieces, nephews.
상무님도 대 나질 님도 대대도.
Yeah.
제산도 괜찮다더라. 선남으로지. 미카시에요. 파토루다.
가시
가시엘리 파토 가시 수두용도. 이 괜찮더라.
It could be like a sign of merit because at the death moment everyone comes together, but for some people when they die everyone scatters. But that's a good, they're all family.
지켜나서 따다 하고 그러더니 선남다 지기 연예도 되나? 주로군이라지.
Yeah, so like if you check it out, if someone is endowed with merit, then it will bring people together when they die.
다디 삼유메지베 치보와서데 라운치 다 레뇽게 라운메 소 옹고라운메 가보체와서데 다요 지 딘데메나 냠린다 만남다 딘데 여보지메나 다 내가 온게다 라운메와 되르메시 다디 신나 여보도로 레왕게 라운메 시에디요나 아주 심지 시에미도 아들로 심지는 갈팽 그래 고 줘야겠습니다 라운메 레도라
기사양게 라도 거나 추스타
니버디 레뇽 그러면 당기디 라마 요베 시버더라.
레옹
시버들라 니샤로 하시다들 당기디 라마 요니 시도니디체. 다 니버디 라마 메바 시도니더라. 라마 메바 시버들라 다 미가시 시벌 심데지 거라. 이 심데지 뭐는 콜라 라마 요 말에. 콜레 커머 판션에 대 두르다. 그봐.
So then those two types of death that appears, the one that we just mentioned where people have control and another one where due to karma and disturbing emotions one is born, well, one shouldn't be too concerned about that in a sense because that is due to karma and disturbing emotions. Right, so this fourth Mara is the Mara of the son of the gods.
뒤신숨네 뒤신숨네 다와라 파르디죠 레프도 뒤신숨 그래서나 풍부도 아니 녀모베도 아니 치포베도 여러 뒤신숨레 신숨게다 아니 신숨레 나와치와서 뒤신숨 많이니게 아니 배 최체라 파르디치니 여러 어딜라 하이프디스 고레스
Definition of a Mara of the Son of God is that which is the division of the four Maras, because here we've singled out this type of Mara as being not one of the aforementioned three of aggregate afflictions and death, but can obstruct transcendence.
다단데 디 하이프디스에 디또 타바단 탐제kim바 토발라 파르디치니 건조 아니 그런 정의식이 따요 니장가라 아니 곰 먼저 남바가 곰장이도 다 곰장 타버터 레시도 아니 차도 마사네 아니 지 콘로제야 gen소야 지 메다 되자 제야기 gen치야 어떤 레시네 간다 타발라
Laril.
타워토라 파르제치고라 코난즈 차도 안 그러와.
Laril. So essentially, these Maras obstruct practitioners from obtaining either liberation or Buddhahood. They have clairvoyance and they see Buddhist meditators, and they might get jealous, angry, or have desire, or provide the conditions for those which obstruct the practitioner.
근데 차도체디 김진 누스디 김진이리샤 하도 들어와.
Why the jealousy come? Two reasons for these gods to be jealous.
그래서나 다 낭베 덤바 좀디데 마베 공라 아니 힌두게 다 콘조 군조라고 지되게 요와.
Yeah.
콘조 지되게 요인자. 다 덤바 좀디데 타바데 셰인디 콘조 타바데 타바 마잉이 차르와.
Joa.
이 셰인디 다 미수이나 저랑게 타바데 타바 말라나 먼저 미네 저랑 레가데 카제 미가 쫑데 쫑 열라나 콘도 사르고다로.
Yeah.
근데 딘데스 렌조르샤 좀 내직더라.
One is that prior to Lord Buddha accomplishing non-abiding nirvana enlightenment, the Hindus or the practitioners at that time had their notion of liberation. And if that was controverted and said, oh, your liberation's not valid, because there is this other one that Buddha accomplished, that's like, calling someone else, criticizing someone and they get angry because you criticized them, that's like that. So that's one reason for the jealousy. Calling their liberation as a non-one.
Dine gyumnichi karlasana ta tingila lungbade pomboros koran chadeero zorojiro.
Yeah.
Ta dinichila tawa thamye jindi midu zozigro darwa. Ziyundu ne yande kondosaya gyu yin chade doro.
And another reason is that in that land at that time, if a person attains to that liberated state, then they become more kind of, the person that rules that state, the king, there's someone then above them. So then that king gets jealous of that state.
Oda duishi chombala dene ani dajomba toboyo resirwa.
So in dependence on vanquishing the four Maras, one obtains the fruit of an arhat. That is according to the root yana vehicles, but according to the great vehicle, when you vanquish the four Maras, you become a Buddha.
Let's
leave the class at the stage where we obtained Buddhahood. We've vanquished the Maras. Yeah, so independence on vanquishing the four Maras from the perspective of the great vehicle, Buddhahood is the result. When you vanquish the four Maras from the point of view of the root yana traditions, liberation from cyclic existence is the result. We'll leave it there. Yeah, you're probably not going to need to discuss because we're looking at the exam coming. There are a few questions in there. Hey. Questions now?
Yeah,
no questions, and then dedications.
Page 31 for the short mandala. Page 33, phrase of dedication. Due to the merit of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain state of Guru Buddha, and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Whatever slight positive potential I may have created, by paying homage, offering, and acknowledging my faults, rejoicing and requesting that the Buddha's deity